Alrighty, we're live. We're live. First, let me start off by saying that I am indeed not a materialistic person by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought it would be fun to see in the thumbnail these two medals, just so I know whenever I visit my YouTube channel, because I probably watch my YouTube videos more than my audience does because I use it for research. At the end of the day, this is a character study. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to catch this medal in the thumbnail so I know that this is the video specifically where I talk about my most recent bodybuilding show. So that's why I'm wearing this. I could really care less about the actual medal. In fact, I have a trophy. I'll grab the trophy. Give me 1 second, just for fun. I guess you can call this a trophy. I have a trophy. Dropped it the second day that I got it. So I went to the competition on Saturday, picked up my son on Sunday, and if you take a look at the leg, yeah, I dropped it getting out the car. So just goes to show this is why we can't have nice things. So I'm going to try to take my time on this one because I got a lot of thoughts. This is post-show. You see me eating chicken as if that's like an indicator as to my level of discipline directly after a bodybuilding show, but it's not accurate. Chicken is dry, and I've definitely gained some weight since the show. It's funny because every time I do a cut and I get shredded, I get jacked, which has happened like 3 or 4 times in the past 4 years or something like that. I always tell myself that once the cut's over, I'm going to lean bulk. Mark my words, I'm going to lean bulk. I'm not going to eat excessive amounts of food, and I'm just going to get bigger gradually over time and maintain my level of shred. And then the cut ends, or the bodybuilding show ends, and it is time to eat again. Discipline just goes out the window for a second. If I'm not preparing for a thing, I just want to eat, and I target carbs. I target carbohydrates specifically, and not the healthy kinds, not like rice or potatoes, which rice I can't even eat anymore because my digestive system is kind of screwed up recently. It won't digest rice anymore or red meat really that successfully. But yeah, let's just backtrack for a second. Bodybuilding show 6 days ago. Today's Friday, and I competed on Saturday. That was an experience. It was definitely an experience. My first show, competing as a natural bodybuilder against enhanced athletes at a NPC/IFBB show. I got first in novice, so I got the novice overall. That's what this medal is. And then, here's the second one. Then I competed in the open class, and I got second against a dude who had a superior chest. Let me show you the comparisons. All right, so here's me. That's me at the show. I think I look pretty good. And then the guy that I ended up coming in second to, who ended up winning the overall show for men's physique. That's him. Slightly leaner, smaller, but a noticeably bigger chest. And when I got feedback from the judges, that's what they said I need to work on. That's my area of improvement, chest, and I could work on my back. And that was the thing that they say he beat me on. Let me see if I can show you quick back comparisons. Here's my back. And here is his back. So yeah, came in second to that guy overall. What I like about this YouTube channel is I get to be super duper honest. Yeah, I apologize for like the lack of editing, but really this is just like a diary for me. It's like a video diary. You can almost call it a vlog. But yeah, what was I gonna say? So I'm really happy with the physique that I brought to stage. I'm really happy with it. And the experience from start to finish, so far as the beginning of this year, starting in January, the 2 to 3 month bulk, the 4-month cut, the peak week. Peak week, I could spend an entire episode talking about peak week and that experience alone. And then the day of doing that show and just feeling completely relaxed, feeling very confident about the presentation I was bringing to stage, thinking that there was a good chance that I was going to win the whole thing. I thought that my physique looked great. I really did. Am I upset? No. I think the thing that I've been feeling since the show, and like I said, it's been a week now, so I've felt a lot of things. But the most consistent feeling that has kind of been here since the show ended is just this, I do it to myself, but it's this feeling of, I would say that my true dream in life is to put myself in a scenario or a situation where I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do, where I don't have to focus on anything that I don't want to focus on, where I can just be left to my own devices and pursue all of my creative endeavors without distraction. That's like my real dream. I have aspirations of being the greatest storyteller that I can be, or the greatest storyteller that the world has ever seen. And the story that I want to tell is, what if the most powerful being in the universe was a human? How would that being move through the world? What changes would he make in the universe? How would he impact? What legacy would he leave behind? That's the story that I want to tell. That's the only thing I want to do, is develop that story, grow with that story. I don't want to do my taxes. I don't want to work for a living. I don't want to do laundry or clean my room or change my car's oil. I think you get what I'm saying. I don't want to cook for myself, etc., etc., etc. There are so many things that a person needs to do, so many tasks that have to be completed in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year, that I would really just like to delegate to someone else. And I know that because I'm aware, because I live in this society, I know that there's a chance to get to that place in life where you have so much power, so much influence, and so much financial freedom that you can actually hire people to do the tasks that you don't want to complete yourself. And that's my motherfucking dream. Is to get to a place where I can just hire assistants to do everything I don't want to do, so I can focus on telling the greatest story ever told. I think of the great, man, I'm having a brain fart right now. The writer of One Piece. What's his name? One Piece author. One Piece author. Oda. Yeah, I was thinking of Akira Toriyama. That's Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, I think of Ichiro Oda, and I think of his lifestyle. And I understand that it's earned. I understand that when he first started writing, whether it was One Piece or something before One Piece, like he still had responsibilities that he had to take care of himself. However, as he garnered more success through the story of One Piece, all of a sudden those responsibilities that were typical to a normal person living a normal life, they kind of started getting pushed off to people in his environment so that he could focus on the success of his story and continue to cultivate that success, and that becomes his primary and only focus. So I say all that to say, it's kind of a roundabout way, is that if there's any consistent feeling that I've been experiencing since the show has concluded 6 days ago, it's just that realization, understanding, and acceptance that I have not yet earned my place in the world where I can only focus on my passions. And that is a feeling of disappointment. Because the contrast between now and, let's say, a week ago is you take the past 6 months leading up to this show, go back to the end of 2023 where I quit my $90K a year day job as a community manager so that I could pursue a career as a bodybuilder and content creator. Essentially, that's why I quit my job, because it was taking up too much time of my day and I couldn't focus on my creative pursuits. Got a night job as a bouncer at a bar. Got a gym membership at a fitness influencer gym, Zoo Culture. Started networking, started making content, boosted my following a little bit on Instagram, went from 1,000 followers to 60,000, even though every week it drops a little bit, which is interesting, and I'm not entirely sure why. That started several months ago after I had posted a little podcast clip where I was talking about how I was passionate about lovemaking. Ever since then, I've been losing like 1,000 followers like every couple weeks, which is weird. Because I deleted the video, so I don't know. That's another thing. I love that I get to be so honest with you guys. Honest with myself. So yeah, I say all this to say that it feels like the past 6 months I was living in a version of what I would like my entire life to look like. And I knew it. I knew that I was doing that to myself. I knew that it was intentional. I had savings in my bank account. And every month, yeah, I had the job. I had the night job that I got as a bouncer. And that paid some of my expenses, but every month I was drawing out of my savings account in order to pay rent, pay child support for my 4-year-old, and afford things that my bouncer job could not, do. So yeah, I've been burning through my savings for the past 6 months, and in doing that, I was able to kind of simulate a reality where I only was required to focus on the stuff that I wanted to focus on. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was exactly what I imagined. I didn't really prioritize the shit that I didn't feel like prioritizing. I broke up with my girlfriend at the beginning of the year because I didn't want to prioritize her. My car, the registration has been expired for 2 years. Yeah, it's been expired for 2 years. I haven't renewed the registration because it won't pass the smog test. And the reason why I won't pass the smog test is because it requires a repair that is in excess of $2,000. And I bought the car for $2,000, so it just doesn't make that much sense to me to make a $2,000 repair to a car that was $2,000 to begin with. But I don't have the finances to afford a new car, so I've been driving around with a car with an expired registration. All of these things, dental, gotta get new contacts, stuff like that. Stuff like that. And like I said, it was all intentional. I got to simulate that reality, and it was exactly what I dreamed. And then after the show, it ends. And I take a look at my bank, and I see that I've gone through my savings, and that simulated reality that I created for myself for the past 6 months, I can no longer continue because I will run out of the ability to pay rent, to pay child support. And that's the situation I'm in. So it feels like the dream, not so far as like the life dream. If we were to relate it back to One Piece, becoming the king of all pirates, that dream hasn't ended. But the dream I was living in a sense, has kind of ended. And I have to make some changes to my daily life. I have to start prioritizing monetary income, or else I will find myself in a situation where I can't afford to pay rent. So that means that I end up having to work another job that doesn't really pull me in the direction that I want to dedicate my time towards. And it is disappointing. So it's interesting because what feels like something that should be considered a great success or a victory does feel kind of overshadowed by the crushing reality of the fact that I have to go back to the prioritization of shit that I don't want to prioritize. But it was a beautiful 6 months. It really was a beautiful 6 months. I don't even have much to say about the fact that I didn't win the overall show. I got first in my little novice thing, which is essentially, for those that don't follow bodybuilding, I barely follow bodybuilding, to tell you the truth. So I had to figure out what novice is, but this basically means that I got first against everyone that has never gotten first, that has competed on a bodybuilding show, in a bodybuilding show, NPC. So I got first amongst those people. And then the second is I got second place against my class. And the class that I was competing in was of a specific height. So there's a height cap. I competed in 5'11" and up. So that's where I got second in. And then the guy that won in my class went on to compete against all the other class winners. So there was Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D, Class E. Class E was the class that I was in. Class F, Class maybe G. I don't know if it went to Class G. But anyway, so the winners of all those classes, they compete for the overall. And the guy that beat me won the overall, which is exactly that was the victory that I was interested in. How do I feel about not winning? It's weird because the way that it happened is, for one, the pictures, the images of that night and how I actually showed up that night are very impressive. And so many people took pictures and posted them on social media, and I was able to like and share and put them on my Instagram story and stuff like that. And so many of the images had me with this gold medal. And for those that don't fully understand bodybuilding and there's no context, all they see is me with a medal or me with a trophy. And it looks like it creates the perception that I've won the night. And that's all well and good, but it's still kind of it feels like it's not fully accurate, at least to me, because before I went into the show, I was thinking that I want to win the overall show, and that's not what happened. So, on Saturday and going into Sunday and even throughout the week, I'm getting all these DMs and text messages saying congratulations for winning your show. Congratulations, you look so great, Sean. I'm so proud of you, yada, yada, yada. Wherein on my end, I'm receiving these contacts and these texts, and, I didn't really, I won, but I didn't win, I didn't fully win. I didn't win to the extent that I wanted. And instead of bothering to correct every single person that reached out with their salutations and congratulations on my victory, I just said thank you, and then I ended up posting my own content slideshow of pictures clarifying that I won my novice overall and I got second in my class. So I made that clarification, and then I went on to think like, well, what does it really mean? How would life be any different if I had won the overall, the actual overall, as opposed to the novice overall? How would life be different? I can't tell you. I really can't. I really can't. I believe, yeah, it's highly likely, and we can't ever say for sure because this is the reality that we're living in. But the likelihood is that I would still be in the same exact situation where I am now needing to make changes to my routine and prioritize higher source of income in order to pay rent. So, yeah, what does it all mean? My physique looks exactly the same so far as that night. So whether they or not they crown me the victor and given me the ram head, which is like, that's what the overall champions were receiving, was a ram head as opposed to the trophy that I got. So they give me a ram head and probably would have broke that too. Because like I said, I'm not materialistic. So what am I missing out on? If there's any takeaway from not getting the victory that I wanted for myself, it's that understanding, realization that even if I focus my entire consciousness on a goal, wanting to have something happen, it doesn't guarantee the outcome will be the one that I've wanted for myself, the one that I've envisioned, which is a very sobering thought. And also, for some reason, a bit encouraging. Because what it means to me, the way that I interpret that, is that even if we were to follow this narrative of the most powerful being in the universe is a human, what are the limits of his power? Prior to the show, I was thinking that if I think a thing and then do everything that I believe is required in order to make that thing happen, then it will happen. And that's the display of my power. That's the display of the most powerful being in the universe. To have a thought and then to do the actions and see that thought actualize in reality. That's not what happened. Instead, I spent 6 months preparing for this show with the intention of winning the entire show, and I didn't. It says something about the limits of my own abilities. I am not God. That's kind of, it relieves me. As funny as it is to say, it puts everything in perspective. Just because I want a thing to happen doesn't mean it will happen. So now there's more work, there's more concrete things. I feel very grounded. One of my favorite fictional characters that I'm basing this narrative off of, the most powerful being in the universe, is Dr. Manhattan. And for those who are not familiar with Dr. Manhattan, in his graphic novel, The Watchmen, he's literally, he can change reality at the molecular level. He can turn a gun into flowers. He can teleport. He can multiply himself. He can do essentially whatever he wants. If he has a thought, he can actualize it within a second. And that's the character that I really was basing this story off of, to show that the human spirit contained inside the physical body has the potential to do unlimited amount of things if the right level of self-belief is there. Only to find out through the course of my own life, through the course of this event, that it doesn't work like that. Instead, the truth of the situation is that I, like everyone else, am living in a shared reality. And in this shared reality, although I might have a conscious intention to see a thing happen, there are more powers at work beyond my own intention that kind of have some level of influence over any outcome. It makes the stakes a bit bigger. And, where I'm coming from is, I said this perhaps in my last video, is that, if I want to tell the ultimate hero's journey and I'm setting out to be this greatest human fucking I made a joke. It's not a joke, but I said in the last video that you can't tell the ultimate hero's journey and not have the hero save the world at the end of it. Well, after this show, knowing that, consciously I wanted to win and I didn't win, that means that consciously I could want to save the world and I could still fail. Just because I want to save the world doesn't mean I'm going to, is what I'm trying to say. And now, honestly, this is kind of like a W, if you think about it, because Now there's less guesswork. There's less like, oh, look at me. The power of conscious intention. Dream it and you can do it. Anything you want to have happen can come true. This past week at this bodybuilding show, that theory has been disproven. Just because I dream a thing does not mean it has to happen. So now there's more reality. There's more concrete information. So if we were to apply that to the goal of achieving world peace within this lifetime, within my lifetime, it can't just be conscious intention that gets it done. There's got to be actual strategy. There's way more work to be done, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Conscious intention can be the navigating force. It can lead me to the right rooms, talking to the right people, saying the right things. It can provide the adventure. But there is a lot more work beyond that in order to get it done. Liberating thought, which is like, I guess that's the thing I'm still reflecting on. Is like, why is that so liberating? Because deep down it means that I'm not God. I'm just a human. It's good to know what the rules are, you know? It's just good to know what the rules are. These are the rules of reality, is that I don't get full control over this. I get a say. I get a say. And here's the little nugget. If I can make my perspective and my efforts compelling enough, that's how you get your victory. And we can apply it to this bodybuilding show. I didn't make my argument for being crowned the overall winner compelling enough to the judges. The judges felt that I needed a bigger chest in comparison to the guy that won. Had my chest been bigger, then that would have been a compelling enough argument for my conscious goal to have been achieved. So I need to compel people. I need to compel people to believe in me, and I need to compel people to believe in my cause. Yeah, well, that's probably why I feel so like a weight has been lifted, because it's good to understand what's required of you in order to achieve your goals. I need to be more compelling. Yeah, I just arrived at that just now, so that's really cool. I have to look for another job. It's all good though, because I feel incredibly optimistic about the future. Everything's pretty straightforward. I just have to keep walking the path, improve my physique. The first thing that we're doing, this first arc, is going down in history as the greatest natural bodybuilder of all time. That's the only thing I have to focus on. All we have to do is reach that destination before we move on to the next arc. World peace is decades down the line, and it's all about the accumulation of these baby steps. Greatest natty of all time is just a baby step. It's just a baby step. And in order to make that happen, I gotta get a job that pays the rent. Take it back even further. I want to get a pro card. I want to become a professional bodybuilder. And once that happens, I will say that my intention is to start offering services so far as personal training and coaching. Now that I've legitimized myself as an actual professional in the field, in the sport of bodybuilding, I don't want to offer services and really make that be my primary source of income until after I become a professional bodybuilder, which I have the opportunity to do at the next show in November. So between now and then, I'm going to be prioritizing, obviously chest day has way more relevancy than it did prior to the show. Prior to the show, I didn't know that I had a weak chest. Now I do. So now I can work on it. This is a pro. These are all pluses. So yeah. There really is no bad news. I guess I was just a bit disappointed that my simulation ended after the show. And I always knew it was going to. I always knew. It's not like, yeah, there was this imagination, and I knew it was false, but there was this imagination of like the show ending and then all of a sudden getting these sponsors or brand deals and basically becoming famous overnight. And you know, Sean, your physique is so impressive. I want to give you $1 million to, you know, sponsor you. Oh, you're doing a documentary? Here's $500,000 in funding. Here's a production team. Here's this, that, and that, and you know, use them freely at your own will. And you know, I just want to see you succeed. Like there was that imagination of such a thing happening after the bodybuilding show, blowing everyone away, and just having all these opportunities come up to me. I knew, I knew that was fantasized. So, yeah, everything is exactly how I figured it would be. Just living in the reality, which is, you know, where else would you want to live? I say that, and then at the same time, I feel that most of my life I was running from reality because I always had this idea of myself, this idea as to how I should be perceived in the world, and I couldn't get it. I always thought highly of myself. I didn't feel that people treated me the way that I felt people should be treating me. And so I actively tried to escape reality, typically through sex, weed, other drugs, Molly, shrooms, entertainment, movies, TV show. Now I feel more at peace with reality because I'm actively working to change it in the way that I want. And it's not bad. It's not bad. We all have to work. You have to earn that spot at the top where everyone understands that the work that Sean is doing is far more important than him having to do his laundry. I have to earn that. And I will. And I will. Whether it takes a year or 2, 5 or 10, I will get there. And in the meantime, guess it's back to community management for me, or something relative to it. Last thing I'll say before I cut this off and start job hunting. Live in the moment. Enjoy the stuff that you enjoy. Seriously. Have a passion. Onwards and upwards.